Valley Club, are there really 0 release events planned for the Annihilators, at least for the next few weeks? A new calendar that just dropped indicates so, and that could be an issue because Shattered Dimension looks to be on the menu for next week, and the Annihilators seem to be required to complete it. So are we missing something? Odin is gonna shake up everything in Marvel Strike Force, as well as a big change to the farmability of tunes that nobody is talking about yet. What is it? We're discussing all of these things and more in this edition of your Marvel Strike Force Weekly News Update. This week, I am joined by my brother from the Great White North, Brother DorkyDad. And if you're ready for all of these topics and more, then Brother Dorky, let him know what to do.
Let's go smash it.
Oh yeah, I love smashing it. Welcome back to the ValleyFlyin channel. I am ValleyFlyin. This is DorkyDad, and this is your Marvel Strike Force Weekly News Update. We do this every single week, keeping you up to date on everything that has happened and is upcoming in Marvel Strike Force. And if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button for more Marvel Strike Force content. Minimum 5 Marvel Strike Force videos per week on the channel. Usually more. We got news videos like this, question and answer videos, gameplay videos, reveal videos like earlier today. But how have you been, Brother Dorky? It has been a while. I know you were out of town. I was out of town. How is your vacation and how are you enjoying Marvel Strike Force now?
Vacation was amazing. We went camping with the kiddos, got to sleep in a tent with the boys while they're young, which is cool before they become teenagers eventually and hate me. So
get out of the electronics. Go back to nature. I love it.
Return to monkey, man. That's what it's all about. It's great. Loved it.
All right, but you're obviously back and back to the electronics and Marvel Strike Force. How are you enjoying the game right now? Last week there wasn't much to talk about, and I guess that's a good thing. This is a bunch to talk about, but not a lot of bad stuff. What is your impression of what's going on right now? Happy, sad, indifferent?
No, I'm happy. So the game has gotten a lot more complicated. Like Crucible defense took a big jump with Annihilators. The new Orcus raids, the tech section, mystic section is getting complicated. So there's a lot of fun things that are progressing that have definitely shaken up like the monotony that was Marvel Strike Force for a little bit there. It got a little boring. It always ebbs and flows, right? So right now we're in kind of a high.
Yeah, I got a little frustrating with the initial release of Old Man Logan and then Captain Britain, but I think we've moved past that. But yeah, things are about to get a lot more insane, Dorky. You're talking about complicated. Look at this complicated kid. My goodness. His basic adds the battlefield effect, clears the other battlefield effects, also does that with a special if you've already used the basic. And then you get charged, which means you're going to get 100% speed. You could use all these moves right off the bat. Woo, Dorky, this is an insane kit. What do you think of these battlefield effects and Odin's kit overall?
Yeah, this guy's absolutely crazy. So he also acts like Old Man Logan where he's assisting every turn. So if you put a character that goes before Odin will do the assist. Now his special will give the battlefield effect. Now on every enemy turn, he's hitting everybody. He's clearing negative effects on him and his team. He's clearing positive effects on the enemy team. He gets speed up from his special, but he also gets 100% speed increase when he has charge, which gives him an effective 512 speed stat. 512 speed stat. What are we doing? Like, this guy is insane. He is going to break the game just like Mephisto did. We're going to be seeing him in Crucible. You're going to be doing 2 sack attacks. You're going to see him in War. There's no exhaust feature that's going to kind of trump him.
You can't stun him.
If you stun him, he gains speed up, so he'll drop the stun.
Speed up, all that stuff.
And if you stun him with trauma, though, he'll still get the speed up. So he'll still have 512 speed stat. You're gonna stun him, and he's gonna be like, "Hey, bro, what are we doing here?" He's gonna drop out, and he's just gonna hit you with it. This guy is incredible. And here's the kicker, right? The spenders, like, let's say, big-ish blubbery whales, not yet Krakens, are going to be getting this guy when Dark Dimension opens up. Yeah, which is crazy.
Maybe not day one because you got to get through the notes, but maybe have all your characters have all your characters ready on day one. This is.
Yep.
I haven't spent anything. I got a few characters ready already, and this is not even out yet. So this is going to be very easy now. Looking at the insane amount of stuff that his kit does, just the raw power on his kit, he's probably gonna have all those updated stats. This is not a simple kit. They were moving away from simple kits, but I guess moving away from complicated kits. But I guess for someone like Odin, it is proper. But just based on this kit and the relative ease of getting the purple ISO 8 on your characters compared to what it takes to get the Crimson Gear 19 on your characters. Is that proper for him to be this good based on the supposed ease of getting him?
So because his name is Odin, it's proper. But
Okay.
I agree with you, the ease of getting him. Some people are going to claim it cheapens Dark Dimension. I'm going to counter that, and I'm going to say this.
Yes.
I personally don't like it when a character is exclusive for a whole year. I don't like it that, I had Mephisto at 3 or 4 months out from his release, but some people won't get Mephisto until 12 months to 14 months of his release, right?
It does feel like good in your arena ranking, though, Dorky. That helps you in your
for me personally, but then like I'm making content like you can use Mephisto here, and then there's 100 comments like, bro, what are you talking about?
Our personal account is not as important as our
exactly
content.
Exactly because I want to be able to make content. I want to enjoy these characters with everybody, right? So I like the idea that more people will get Odin. I hope whatever the free-to-play release mechanism behind Purple ISO comes like on the heels of his release. And I'm excited for him, and I'm happy that it looks like they're trying to make it take less time.
Where do you think he's gonna be effective? Obviously everywhere, but what do you think happens in arena as the 5-piece? He's probably gonna be in there. You're gonna have some Annihilators. Is Mephisto still in there? Is Ultima still in there? What are you predicting for arena once Odin arrives?
I think pretty like cut and clean. It's gonna be a Mephisto Odin plus the 3 Annihilators.
Okay. No complicated there. Now, what do you think of him on War and Crucible? More offensive, more defensive? Or kind of is it based more on your rankings in War and rankings in Crucible?
It'll definitely depend. What I will say is that Mephisto is currently the best character in the game. Yes. And he ends up going on defense because the second you have yours on offense and you are facing the one on defense, you are taking all the risk. Right? Like whatever the mirror match is, whatever your team is against theirs, you are shouldering all the risk on efficiency, on the loss. The other person has an easier time with your defense because you don't have your Mephisto or your Odin. So I do think he defaults to defense. I think he's going to act exactly like Mephisto does. He's going to get his own team. He's going to require you to do some sack attacks. You're going to want to get his charges burned off without giving him too much energy so that he's reaching his special again to renew his charge. That way you can kind of bypass that battlefield effect on the next hit. So I do think he's going to be a finesse play like Mephisto currently is, and he'll be on defense.
Now, he is an Asgardian, has that Asgardian tag. Is that just because thematically he is an Asgardian, or are there some synergies here that we can kind of benefit? I mean, we have Hela and Dying Team has that Asgardian tag. We have Val, the rest of the Bifrost has that Undying tag. And then we have those old hero Asgardians with Valkyrie and stuff. Where do you think does he fit into any of those Asgardian type teams that we have?
Yeah, I think this is our Val rework. Because you're going to get an expose with Val's special, or maybe you bring Nightcrawler, maybe you bring somebody else that does an expose attack, right?
Yes.
Odin is then attacking the entire enemy team every time an enemy takes a turn per charge. So he will be hitting to that expose, fueling Val's energy on every enemy turn. So by Val's second team, just with her or him and Odin, then it's going to make them pop their it's very confusing for me to get through that kind of stuff. My wife's name is Val. Anyway, I think Val is going to be alting turn 2 with just Odin and 3 other badass characters around them. So
So raid solution before the Night Stalkers come out, is he strong enough to replace one of the members of the Bifrost to make it a lot easier? Mephisto makes the bio section a lot, or the Mystic section a lot easier with that. So so it is maybe Mephisto and Odin kind of combo with the Bifrost. Is that how you're getting through Mystic until we get the Night Stalkers?
I can't imagine Ares with his Awakened passive, Deathpool, Val, Odin, and Mephisto. I can't see a world where they would struggle to get through the current Orcus raids. I just can't, because except for the boss node, you can still get expose up on the start of every match, and then on the boss node you could have Deathpool's permakill ult ready. So I can't see a world where it wouldn't work, but they do have those Annihilators there for that reason, to stop the expose giving energy, but Deathpool kind of fills that in. They are having characters like North Star and I believe it was like Void Knights. They're dropping in, so they're speed up on spawn, but some of them have like added turn meter for when they spawn in, so they're not starting at 0. So there's a couple shenanigans going on in the raids that might make it a little bit difficult. But what I'll say
he's going to take a lot of turns, though. He's going to take a lot of turns in the beginning.
Yes, he will, and his ult is going to annihilate people, right?
Yeah.
What I would say is, after seeing the Orcus kit, I can't see a world where the Night Stalkers aren't as awesome as they are, which is like, think Spider Society. Think of how many plays you use Spider Society. Even if Night Stalkers isn't needed for the raids, I bet they still come out as like a top 10 war team and a top 6 Crucible team. Like, I can't see a world where they're going to sell or try and sell a team that is completely unnecessary.
Well, I mean, it's unnecessary without Odin, without Mephisto. I don't think most players are going to have that. So I think for most players, it's still going to be necessary. If you're at the top end, maybe not, but you know, they're going to make harder versions of it. We got difficulty 3 right now. They might make 4 or 5 or a brand new raid that this combo team won't be effective and Night Stalkers will be required. So that's what I'm thinking there. Now, as far as the timing of when we're going to get Odin released, we do know that it requires purple ISO 8, and you need these characters: city villains, city heroes, global villains, cosmic or legendary for the final section. And I do think it's going to be in this order because this is probably the hardest, and it's going to be in this order. That's just my prediction there. When do you think it's actually coming? And when do you think we're going to get that planner on the website? We have one for every Dark Dimension up to Dark Dimension 7, nothing for 8 yet. When do you think we're going to get that planner? When do you think we're going to actually get this launched live in the game?
I think the planners come like on the heels of it going live in game, don't they?
Does it come right before it, or does it come as it goes live?
I think it comes like right after it goes live. Like, I think it needs to be in game to collect our data for the requirements is my hypothesis. I also agree that it's probably going to be in this order. I think all the traits are very easy to pick options for, with the exception of the city villain team. And seeing the offers that are in game, seeing the leaderboards that have been in game, the 2 that have paid out really big, I know there's already like probably 300 people that are ready for Odin. So I can't imagine it's going to take very long. I know a lot of people that are now putting purple ISO on just like fun characters.
Random, because they're done. Because they're done with the main ones already.
Yeah.
Any standouts? I know previously we're talking about Mephisto if you have him, Apocalypse if you have him, Skrull, Old Man Logan. Is there any others that you thought of like are guaranteed day one? Not even think about it. Build these characters up. Or has someone like Old Man Logan or Super Skrull fallen off because they're not as valuable in Arena as when this announcement first came out?
Nah, they definitely haven't fallen off. A couple no-brainers for me definitely have been the addition of Gladiator. Gladiator over Thanos for me, actually, because Gladiator is kind of acting as a counter to Cabal in Crucible, where he stops the vulnerables if he has 2 Annihilators with him. So now you can put Gladiator with Skrull and 2 Annihilator members, and all of a sudden Cabal is struggling, which is crazy. Right?
Gladiator super annoying. I brought it up I just brought him up just for Arena. Not even thinking about the other effects. I just wanted more power in Arena because a big Gladiator, you can't get through that taunt, can't get him down below 50% health. He's a problem.
Yeah, for sure. As far as things set in stone, I don't think City Hero is as set in stone as we thought, because you want to do Spider Society. I already did my Spider Society, right? And I did Robbie Reyes as well. But now that the Night Stalker team, I'm assuming it's the vampire team. It's called Night Stalkers, for crying out loud, right? We know Karen Page.
It's the monsters. Because Moon Knight's not a vampire, Man Thing's not a vampire, but they're monster-ish type.
Exactly. Yeah. So we know Moon Knight is going to get a rework. We know he is a city hero. Karen Page, she's like big in New York. I assume she's going to be city. We know Man Thing, he'd be a global hero. And then I think is that all we know? We're assuming Blade.
That's all we know. Yeah, Blade's been assumed. Dracula's been one that's assumed, but neither of them have been officially announced. But we know Karen, we know Moon Knight, and we know Man Thing. That's it.
Yeah. So there's a mix between like heroes and city and global for that. So I'm not sure we want to dedicate resources to those sections yet. For the villains, like the Nimrod team looks phenomenal. So maybe it's not going to be Cabal for the global villains anymore. Like maybe we're going to want to use Nimrod, or we're going to want to use Sentinel for that. Like there's a lot of things that are going to change. So people that are holding on to the resources, they're probably doing the right thing. People that are rushing for Odin, they're probably going to be building up those resources in time to get it done at the same rate. You know, the clever free to play who are hoarding are going to have it.
Now, do you think they're going to keep giving us this ISO 8 at this rate in these milestones? I mean, are we going to be able to freely select characters, or do we really need to select them very carefully because we're not going to get a lot of this stuff after some of these milestone events go away?
I think they're going to keep doing the milestone events because they just keep generating sales, right?
I hope you're right.
But it is concerning, right? Because I would have thought the Orcus raids would give purple ISO, but they don't.
Yeah.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that what Incursion and the Doom raids did? Wasn't that our source for Apocalypse?
They did. Well, I think Incursion gave us more Crimson gear. Whatever we were chasing, whatever Dark Dimension we were chasing, or Apocalypse is kind of the mini Dark Dimension 6.5. Whatever we were chasing, they gave us the next thing towards that, and now it's not though. So maybe that's how they keep it rare. Maybe that's how they limit the Odin. Unlocks, you know, either buy it or do really well on these milestones.
That's it, because I can't see them adding it to Crucible because that's your main diamond resource.
Yeah.
War, I guess, would be a good spot to put it eventually because we do have the blue ISO in War now too. I don't think they're going to do it in raids because the raids rewards is through the roof. Arena, they're definitely not going to add it there. So who knows where this purple ISO is going to come from? Maybe it'll be event exclusive for a long time.
I think it will be event exclusive until a lot of people unlock Odin and they're like, all right, everybody's got them, we'll make it free, and then now we give you a place to farm.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the new team, the Sentinel team that may be good for Dark Dimension 8. We just got that announcement this week. What did you think of these character selection? I mean, I was surprised with some of these character selection. I mean, I knew the Sentinels, but the rework to Lady Deathstrike, rework to Scientist Supreme, that came out of nowhere for me.
Yeah.
Were you expecting this, or was that a big surprise for you as well?
I don't love it thematically, but I love Lady Deathstrike as a character. I love her kit. I love her speed, her turn meter rewind on her special. The Sentinel character himself seems a little generic to me. I would have loved for it to be like Bolivar Trask, and he just acts like, say Maria Hill comes in, right? She shoots her gun, and then a bunch of people spawn in.
That would be nice. Yeah, so Bolivar, and then he spawns more Sentinels.
Yeah, that's what I would have liked, but it is what it is.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah, Nimrod, I love Nimrod. If you've seen, I believe it's the Dawn of X. Oh my God, yeah. But if you see the Dawn of X comic, like Nimrod is actually, he's so hardcore. There's comics where he like annihilates mutants, including Apocalypse. And his kit looks amazing. The speed stat jumps that he's going to get, there's a lot of really cool theory crafter things you can do here. Sentinel is going to have a tech minion on spawns. That's 10% there. Someone in my comment sections, Hidden Rapture, old friend, was like, hey, you can bring Mysterio because it's not Orcus minions. It's just tech minions.
Yeah.
So he could come in and have 40% speed. So now he's not at 132. He's at like, oh my, what would he be, like 170 effective speed or something like that? And then he's flipping all your buffs right up. Like, this team is going to be more than just a raid team. So I'm really excited for that. It's going to be like Scientist Supreme, Sentinel, Nimrod, definitely Core 3. And we go from there.
All right, so as far as the theory crafting, you know, bringing other tech minions possibly, is that something more for outside the raids? Because I'm thinking you got to use this team for the raids, this 5-piece team for the raids.
I think for sure it's more for outside the raids. I wonder how
Crucible, War.
Yeah. I wonder how necessary Lady Deathstrike is. Like her rework was super lackluster, right? Like her special and her ultimate didn't get any kind of Orcus callouts. We haven't
tried her though. She's not on a playtest server, and from what we hear, this alone makes her super viable. So even though she didn't get a lot, this might make her worth it. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, but the big one, Scientist Supreme. She is fast now. She's getting 50% turn meter or fifth speed bar right on the beginning. She's going fast. And now she gives ability energy, and that ultimate looks very nice as well. Heal self now, and then you're getting offense down, defense down, slow, 2 turns to non-aim, non-Orcus allies. So if you're bringing other allies, they are going to have that, and then obviously all the enemies. And then trauma in the raid. She looks very, very strong. I don't see how you leave her off this team. Am I wrong on that, or am I missing something?
No, I don't think she stays off this team. But what does concern me is they lean into speed bar for her on spawn,
Yeah.
But North Star will stop her speed bar on spawn. So that's why it gives me pause Lady Deathstrike. Like maybe you do want to bring the Sentinel and Mysterio, and then it's part of Nimrod's raid kit where he also gives that speed stat increase to his Orcus allies. So I wonder if we are going to have to play around with that to bypass these North Stars. But yeah, she's going super fast.
That would only make it be a problem if you place them on defense and then it's countered by North Star. You obviously wouldn't go into like a...
No, I mean the raids.
In the raids. Is there a North Star in the raids?
Both the start of the first tech node and the second tech
I didn't
node.
look at it. I was looking for the mutants. So I guess he is a mutant, right?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, all right. So as far as right now, we got these new Orcus raids. They're in the game right now. We don't have this team in the game yet. We will eventually. The big problems right now are going to be the Bifrost section for the Mystic, and then the tech section, which is eventually going to be the solution for what is the best strategy in your opinion right now? Our alliance got to difficulty 3, and we're doing 1 lane for tech, 1 lane for bio, for Mystic, unless somebody has Mephisto, then we're doing a couple lanes. Is that the best strategy, or are there other solutions that I'm missing that we could do more than 1 lane if there's for tech and Mystic?
No, I think 70% is the goal, right? So you single drill through the tech section. You can definitely get through at least 2 lanes of Mystic if you have multiple people with Mephistos, multiple people with the Ares Awakened ability. You can definitely do at least 2 lanes in that sense. But all you need to do to hit 70% is single drill tech, single drill Mystic, and then do every other section, including the final boss. And then you get over 70%. So you hit that 3rd reward bracket, you get more seasonal points. So that's kind of the goal.
All right, and are you having trouble with simming any of these nodes? I tried to sim the boss. I didn't sim there, but every other node, the rest of the sections seem pretty easy for a sim. You're hearing of any problems with the rest of the sections? So
I'm simming all of skill. I'm simming bio first node, plain bio second node, because I want to put the disrupt on Vol with Skrull. Gotcha. I'm simming bio boss node. I'm simming all of mutant. I'm just not simming tech, definitely not, and I'm not simming Mystic.
Gotcha.
Or the final boss. Yeah.
I just said screw it, simmed everything and got through it, except for Mystic and except for tech. That one I had to play manually. All right, but moving back to this team, let's talk about their ISO 8 and placement. What are you thinking for ISO 8s for all of these characters? Let's start with Sentinel. He's a protector. Fortifier on purple got a lot better. Same with healer. Are you looking for Fortifier healer or something else for Sentinel as far as the best ISO 8?
I'm actually thinking Striker on Sentinel because he gives counterattacks on his ISO assist, and there's interesting counterattack implications with his robots. Also, because the team is getting so much energy, he's more likely to be spamming his special and his ultimate than ever doing his basic. And I do think we want those counters that he provides.
That makes sense. All right, moving on to the next one. Nimrod, what are you gonna use for his ISO 8, at least initially on your testing? He is the blaster. He's a high damage, high focus that they talk about.
Yeah, so I'm definitely thinking Raider for him. He gets a lot of crit callouts in his passive. His attacks are all AoE, and his damage is going to be nutty. And he starts the fight, right? So I can see him doing a lot of damage. Makes sense.
So does he start to fight if they're Scientist Supreme, or is that because of all the minions? Field? I didn't look at all the speed, how that affects everything.
So Scientist Supreme will start it, but she doesn't actually do an attack. Gotcha. She can be a skirmisher and put 1 vulnerable out, but she can't put multiple.
Makes sense. All right, Omega Sentinel. She is the support character. She does a lot of healing. Am I right thinking healer for her?
I think there's going to be so much healing between her and Scientist Supreme. I'm not sure healer is going to be necessary.
So not needed for her. Okay.
But I wonder if I'll want her as a healer, purple 3, to help counter vulnerables outside of raids. So the purple ISO stuff is definitely changing how I look at raid teams, because the raid teams, they're designed to walk over the raid nodes, right? So I'm always kind of thinking beyond raid and into Crucible, into War, into Sword Satellite, stuff like that. So I could see her definitely having a lot of value as a healer in that regard. Otherwise, I think a decent striker, maybe a skirmisher, maybe another raider. But I'm not sure the healing itself.
And these are for outside the raids, because as you mentioned, they pretty much going to smash the raids. So I don't know if ISO 8 really matters outside the raids or in the raids themselves, because they're going to smash. All right, Lady Deathstrike. Not a bunch of reworks, just a bunch of extra stats. And her kit was actually pretty good before. She just never really kept up with the current stats.
Yeah.
Is she gonna be on this team for you? At least your initial theory crafting of this team.
I don't think she makes the team outside of raids. I'm curious how it'll work inside raids. Like we just said, she'll probably
stays on Weapon X for you.
I think on the defensive side, yeah. Or if I'm using the team on offense, I think there's more creative options as plug and play to go with Orcus. That'll help Nimrod pop off and help you like cover the field with sentinels and stuff like that. So that's kind of where my head goes. But with her stat rework, 40% turn meter rewind everywhere now instead of needing a kill to activate it. It's very interesting. She's definitely powerful for sure.
All right, and last but not least, Scientist Supreme, probably the most interesting rework of this because she had a wholesale rework of her entire kit and some crazy stat increases. I'm glad that she's kind of back in the meta. I missed AIM for a while. Where does she go? Healer based on that? Go for something else because there's enough healing and you're thinking outside the race. What are you doing for Scientist Supreme?
I think it's just Skirmisher to make sure she lands her initial debuffs, but I could be convinced to make her a healer too. Just to get rid of those vulnerables that she would do if she was purple ISO. She's definitely interesting. She seems like she's going to be an amazing plug and play character with 50% speed bar. We don't need the rest of the Orcus team to come out for us to make use out of Scientist Supreme, which is super interesting, right?
Is this rework to her strong enough to bring AIM back, or do they just, with their base stats that are so outdated? No, okay.
Sorry. Well,
all right, and last but not least, as far as placement, what are you thinking as far as placement? Does it matter? You probably want Sentinel on one of the ends, but he's summoning a lot of bots, so you might get some taunts in the middle of the field. Where are you thinking placement matters for this team or no?
Yeah, because the bots are taunting at some point, right? Whenever they do an attack. So I don't think it matters because wherever they go, RNG is where the taunt's going to go, which makes it a lot harder to placement. I don't think I saw any give adjacent allies speed up or anything like that. It was pretty much like global buffs to the team on abilities. So I don't think it matters too much. I'd probably be tucking Scientist Supreme as the reviver in a corner, so there's as little as possible adjacent characters to her, as well as Nimrod, I suppose, because it's going to be huge damage, but we'll have to see the health stats and everything.
Yeah, well, we'll see how these guys play out, but I'm interested in this. Let's move on to the other new team, the Annihilators. This team is actually in the game right now. We had Gore released last week. Some people are a little disappointed with him. I think he does what he's supposed to do, removes the charges, removes the revive once. And should he be doing anything else? Is this a disappointing character for you, or is he doing exactly what he was built to do?
Let me preface this by saying, a big Gore smashes face. He does a lot of damage. Now let me talk crap about him. So
about these 3-star Gores?
No, just about his kit in general. I think it missed the mark. Gore is such an iconic character. He's got the Necro sword from Null. I feel like his charge strip shouldn't have a focus check. It should almost be like Ares, where it's just like, hey, I did this ability, your charges are gone. Kind of like how it's just there's no focus check to get rid of the battlefield effect. I feel like Gore is valuable, at least if he had that. Now, there's definitely a lot of use for Gore. In Arena, I mean, he stops assists, right? Odin is going to be doing assists. That's going to be a huge thing to be stopping enemy Odins from doing their assists on turn. So Gore is still going to be Arena meta no matter how you cut it. The revive strip is definitely having some use, plug and play. The ability blocks are nice. The passive damage when people start dying and he throws his special randomly at somebody. It's a fun kit, but it's overshadowed so heavily by Thanos Endgame. And I think that's the main reason why people are kind of bummed out about Gore. If they just did a kit swap where Thanos was the one stripping charges and doing all kind of stuff, and Gore had that buff decay effect and the passive damage, Gore is a cooler character than Thanos. Thanos already had his time in the sun. It's been 3 or 4 years since Endgame came out, so no one's super hyped for that. And he lost. Yeah,
he lost 3 years ago. At least he lost at least Gore lost a year ago, 2 years ago.
And that wasn't Gore. That was Christian Bale. Like, did he have tentacles? No, it wasn't Gore. I'm sorry. Thor: Love and Thunder, not real. I refuse to believe. I feel like that's the main source of disappointment. Like, he's a great character. He hits hard.
Do you think they should have just switched these characters? Because usually these teams have one standout character. Void Knight was one. Nightcrawler was one. Should it have been Gore instead of Endgame Thanos?
Absolutely. I don't think Thanos Endgame carries the hype that they thought it did, especially this far out from the movie, especially because Thanos was already in the game. So it's just a Thanos variant. I think that's a big source of people's frustration. Even Gladiator is causing huge ripples in all kinds of game modes, right?
Everywhere,
especially in the arena.
Everywhere.
Like, Gore is not arena meta without the entire team right now. It's Gladiator plus like Skrull, Mephisto, blah, blah, blah. Like, Gore is decent there, but he's not necessary there. Whereas like Thanos Endgame is going to be game changing. I think that's the big source of frustration. I definitely feel it. I think Gore was disrespected both in the MCU and here, and it's unfortunate. At least he looks good here. At least.
Did you feel that way when you looked at his kit? Because when I saw his kit, I was like, this guy is going to be great. When I'm actually using him, I was like, all right, he removes the charges. That's good. I got to put Skirmisher on him though, because he doesn't have enough focus if I want to do the ISO 8 that I want. Were you disappointed at the beginning when you saw it on paper as well, or just in gameplay?
I think I was actually pretty hyped when I saw it on paper because
I was as well.
Yeah, like I was excited first of all because he looks amazing, right? And then I was reading it and it was like, oh, he stops charges, he stops assists. You look at his use in arena, you're like, oh, I can really see this. But then when we start playing with them everywhere in the live game, because we don't get to test everyone on the playtest server, you start
and even
seeing
when we do, there's no diamonds, there's no crimson gear. It's not it's a weird test on the test server. It's not super accurate.
Yeah, you start seeing the chinks in the armor big time for Gore, and I think that's very unfortunate.
All right, there is a bug that know about not removing the mark of Mephisto correctly, and this won't affect all players, but if you're at the end game facing Mephistos, what is happening?
So the icon is leaving, but the effects aren't. So you still can't do Terminator rewinds.
So visually it looks good.
Yeah. And then but effectively,
but it's broken.
Yeah.
Okay,
kind of like Gore. He looks good, but he's just not working.
Very fitting. All right, now we're getting the final member of the team tomorrow in Endgame Thanos. What are your thoughts on him? What will be the new arena meta once he arrives? The versions with Mephisto and versions without Mephisto. What do you think is happening to arena tomorrow with Thanos?
Let me talk about the meta going forward. I'm pretty sure it's going to be three Annihilators with Mephisto and Apocalypse over Skrull, because the Falcon Punch onto the Gladiator is a game changer, whereas Skrull takes a little bit of time to kind of get going, right?
What about non-Mephisto shards?
Yeah, so non-Mephisto, I think then it is Skrull and Apocalypse. Maybe you could try some Old Man Logan if you're feeling like you can nuke the Gore. Otherwise, it could be Gladiator to try and get offense up and help push the enemy Gladiator as fast as possible. It could also be Kang. I've been doing that in Arena, and I believe some people are doing that in War. Kang Raider basically into Gladiator. If you have like a gear turn 19 3 diamond Kang is a good way to circumvent Gladiator's passive as quickly as possible. Though I'm not sure it's going to be the best idea, because now let me talk about Thanos. He's a game changer. He is definitely the core member of this team. If you've been saving your cores, wondering who to core on, it's this guy. His stats are so impactful. You're looking at his passive right now. Yeah. So when he gets pushed below 50% for the first time, he takes away all your buffs. Safeguard be damned. I'm calling it this new like decay effect, where it's like, okay, 5 turns of every single one of your buffs is gone, right? And then he's going to be like, also, I'm going to cut you in half now with my giant sword. And it does, not like in the Orcus raid, a crud of damage. Like, it is a huge damage effect. If he reaches his ultimate, it's like a mini version of his passive, where he's also doing a decay effect and just smash your whole team. He's kind of like Doom, where if you push him at the wrong time, you could just be absolutely destroyed. Except unlike Doom, ability block doesn't stop this. Stun trauma doesn't even stop his passive. Like, the damage still comes out, but then he doesn't get cleansed. It's very interesting.
Some stuns stop passive, some don't. It's not consistent. So I guess this one does stop the passive.
No, it doesn't.
It does not stop the passive. Okay.
Yeah.
It's still going off.
He's just absolutely nightmarish. And if you thought not having Gladiator facing against people with Gladiator felt bad in Arena, just wait until you see these juicy Thanoses start popping up.
Yeah, this is going to change a lot. Now, I want to go back to the arena meta without Mephisto. Is there a world where Ultimates gets in there? Because I found that Ultimate, if you use that Ultimate on Gladiator, sometimes it comes a little late and the timing's off, but if you get it right, that eliminates Gladiator and you're good for the match. Do you put him in, or do you like Apocalypse there with Super Skrull a little better?
I like Apocalypse better just because against the big Gladiators, Ultimus is no longer hitting that mark enough, and then the Gladiator is popping back up and he's healing a lot. Whereas Apocalypse, he's going to do his ultimate, he's going to get hit. The Annihilators are all villains, so he gets the speed up, and then he reaches that Falcon Punch on his second turn, not too late in the match. Unlike Skrull, who ults really, really late, the second attack from Apocalypse comes pretty early. It's 60% base damage, plus Apocalypse's offense up, hitting into the enemy, and it feels very good. It feels like it's accomplishing what you would want Ultimus to accomplish.
I've been using him. But I don't have Thanos in yet, so I've been using Apocalypse and Ultimus. So we'll see what changes tomorrow. Now, as far as his value, outside of the Annihilators or outside of Arena, where does he fit? A lot of times Arena teams end up on defense. Are you seeing the same thing for the Annihilators? I mean, they're on defense right now in Cosmic Crucible. Is that where they're going to stay, and where do they go in War?
Yeah, so right now in War, we're seeing them with Mephisto. There seems to be a Dorm put in there. Yeah, on defense.
Oh, gosh.
And Surfer's in there kind of just existing to make sure there's enough Annihilators there. I think Thanos Endgame is going to be jumping in over Surfer, and Surfer is going to get benched going forward for War in Crucible, and it's just going to increase the difficulty of those matches by a lot. Especially in Cosmic Crucible, where we just talked about earlier, right? Gladiator stopping the Cabal's anti-speed bar onto a Skrull. Well, now you're going to have the Skrull threat plus the damage from an enemy Thanos stealing all your buffs and everything. So yeah, exactly like what you have in 3. I think Surfers.
Do you split these guys up to make use of the hero and villains, or do you keep them? Or for Skrull, do you split it up to make use of the hero, villains, and Skrull, or do you put all the Annihilators and put Skrull on a different team?
I think you do 3 Annihilators with like a Dorm, so that Skrull has a revive, because that also messes with Cabal.
Oh, that is nasty. I didn't think of that one.
Yeah, so you just don't have any heroes, which is fine, because Skrull's main benefits are from having villains, right? Instead of, he doesn't put ability block on special, but he still does 60% turn meter rewind. He doesn't put trauma on his ultimate, but he still hits for 1,000% piercing. So I think the villain tags are more important than the heroes.
That's a good point. All right, let's talk about the big change to the bumps. Now, this was a message that we had last week. I didn't even notice this because this is kind of buried in the mail. There was no announcement in any blog post or anything, but at the bottom of this, similarity, character shards will not be added to the bumps until around 3 months has passed after release, which is different. So they're changing the cadence of this. They changed it once with Diamonds, where it's introduced. It got a lot more, released a lot faster. This slows it back, but we look at the full text of here. If we scroll this down, what it says towards the bottom, there's no change to the character's fountaining date, which still targets 4 months after the character's initial release date. So looks like we're going to be getting a lot more events in the meantime. And then when the characters actually become farmable, same time, but they're not going to go to any orbs. So we're not going to get any characters sooner, just from events and orbs and things like that. What do you think of this change? Is this a big change to have them released in the orbs later, or not big of a change because their fountaining date is still at that 4 month mark?
It's tough. I think it is a meaningful change. Let's get that straight.
It's pretty big, yeah.
Yeah. So the thing about
they did not announce this except in this little mail last week that I totally missed.
Which kind of shows their hand. It shows that it's an important change. The fact that it's an important bad change that they're not like advertising, right?
Yeah.
What it's doing is it's further taking the decision making from players away and giving that power back to Scopely. Right? So now Scopely is in charge of who goes into Battle Pass, in charge of who goes into milestone rewards and events, and also how deep those milestones are into the spending territory or into core spending territory. Players now can no longer hoard their Ultimates credits or their Mega Orbs or their Premium Orbs in hope of hitting the jackpot. What I'll say is that like the RNG of bumps I've been graced to get like an extra 25 shards on characters when I hoard. Like when Black Knight came on my baby count, I had like 100 premium orbs and I pulled them 3 times. So it's not like Bumps was like an auto, okay, now I can max his character out. So it's not like that. So it's not like
there's that jackpot though, right? Sometimes you get in mega orb, you get some good stuff, but a lot of times you're getting nothing because most of the characters, if you've been playing the game and getting them to their milestones, you already have them pretty close to that 7-star. But yeah, a lot of times I'm not getting a lot in the bumps. Yes.
So it's a bad decision because it also feels unnecessary because Bumps is RNG, because you need to hoard an extraordinary amount of these orbs for it to actually be impactful, which once you open that hoard once, then you can't open it again, right? So it's a very big buildup. It feels completely unnecessary and it takes decision making away. So I really don't like the change itself. I think it's unnecessary and it's controlling, and for that reason, I really don't like it. And also, there's a reason it wasn't advertised. They knew people were not going to.
Yeah, let me know your thoughts on this, Valley Club. Why wasn't it advertised? Was this on purpose or was this one of their many oversights? We got something new, the Surge Streak. This is for players that lose their 7-day streak. I think this is good. It is a new milestone. It's in the game right now. And if you lose your 7-day streak, you can get it back and you get other resources as well. I do like that they added this. Now they do mention one thing, the pro tactic here. Claim it when you're ready. If you make sure you claim it if you think you might lose your 7-day streak. So I already claimed mine. I know I'm going to be logging in. Hopefully that doesn't change. But yeah, one thing when you get this is down here at the bottom, you might want to claim milestone 1, 2, 3. But if you know maybe you're going on vacation or you know someone or you know that you might not be playing every day, hold off on this. What do you think of these milestones and what it effectively does for players? I mean, this is some free resources, some free power cores. In addition to potentially giving somebody their streak back. How valuable is a streak and what effect is it going to have for players?
Yeah, I like it. I don't think it's super impactful because this is a daily play game. Like, it's cool that you'll get your login streak after being logged out for a little bit. But while you're logged out, you're not helping your alliance with war. You're not doing your raid attacks. You're not getting your credit for Crucible. So it's like every missed day in Marvel Strike Force feels horrendous, right? So I think it's the first good step in maybe trying to make it feel not so bad when you do have to, go on vacation or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of work to be done there. I'll be interested to see how, if at all, they can tackle that. But it's the first good step.
Yeah, this helps out new players that may not have access to that streak yet. This helps out players that play a little more casually, I think, and it helps these minimal resources that we have here, these power cores, helps players that are going to log in anyway. So I think this is all good stuff here. Let's move on to the other new change, and I guess it's not a new change because I think we saw a lot of these changes live last week, but we got a new announcement about the Strike Store. It got a little better. So a couple of questions. What do you think of the Strike Store change, and why did it take them so long to announce that it got changed? I think they changed it for the better about like a week ago, but a week before this announcement. So why do you think it took them so long, and what do you think of these changes?
I think it probably took them so long because they wanted to see how people were handling it, and they probably wanted to tap Kraken Discord and see how happy those Krakens were with the Strike Store. We immediately gave feedback in the Envoy Discord, like, hey, these numbers are out of whack. The gold that was in there, the trading materials that were in there, it cost more strike points to get the gold and trading materials in this store than what you were getting for bang for your buck. So we gave that feedback right away. It took them a while to fix it, but they did fix it and they went beyond what you were getting. So for that, I think is great. I think this change is definitely a welcome change for spenders for sure. And what can you say? Spender appreciation is nothing new in Marvel Strike Force, and it is what it is.
All right, so what exactly changed? I was talking about this with Duelam last week, but I don't really go into the Strike Store. I usually buy stuff with Amazon coins. I think this got added, the 2 million gold, the 150 training T4s. This seems new, this Crimson Orbs as well. What exactly do you notice that got added? Or did things get changed, or was it just added?
So I think they more than doubled both the training materials and the gold for the same price point. So it used to be like 2,500 strike tokens. I want to say it was 70 or 75 of the L4s.
Okay.
And then the gold, I think, was even less than half. I don't even think it was 1 million. So the price points for strike tokens to the amount we got didn't make sense. I don't think there was Armory 19 orbs in there at all. The Elite 7 that you see one below what you're on right now, it was half an Elite 7, not a full Elite 7. The orb amounts for gear tiers 18, 17, and 16, I think were half of that. So they basically supercharged everything that was in the store and left the prices where they were.
Good. I think that's all good stuff. So they did one stealth change and a couple good changes, I guess.
Yep.
All right, so we got a new month-long milestone, the Annihilator Initiative. So this is a shorter one. 3 main milestones, 2 quick rumbles, 2 alliance milestones. It's a very short one. I mean, look at the calendar. There seems something missing, though. No, it doesn't appear that there's any character release events. Do you think this is an oversight, or do you think this is some kind of they're holding these characters back? I know they held Hank Pym back for Captain Britain. Are they holding these characters back because they're Annihilators for the arena, or is that kind of a trend moving forward? Is it just 2 teams that are different than the other teams in a row, or is this a trend that's coming, pushing these character release backs further and further and further?
Yeah, I really, really, really hope it's not a trend, because it would be a horrible trend. Hank being much further away from his offer, I didn't like it, but I understood why they were doing it, right? It was to make sure that people had to buy 2 offers for Hank to unlock Captain Britain instead of just 1. The Annihilators, I don't see why Gladiators event wasn't like last week at this point, or the very worst this week. Because then Gore should have been the week after that, and Thanos week after that. Because we do have that pocket dimension. It's just like, Scopely, have you not learned your lesson from the last pocket dimension where we were like, hey guys, we don't have the Illuminati team free to play to do this pocket dimension. So are they pay gating the pocket dimension, or can we go in there with just Surfer and Ultimus and somehow beat it? Right? Like with Illuminati, we at least had Iron Man, Mr. Fantastic, and Black Bolt, so we had a 3-piece. We got through it with a lot of heals, but they had to nerf the nodes to the ground. So it's like, I like the orbs because I like the little jackpots. I know not everyone does, but I like them as being supplement to the actual release event. If that means the release event is pushed back 2 more weeks, so like
doesn't seem like supplement. That's like a reason to delay it, right? That's not what you're describing.
Exactly. So it's very concerning that we don't see a release event here. I wonder if like the old enemies event with the sword, like, well, that's like great.
It would have to be this. It would have to be this for that to be the release, but we got some data mines that it may not be. Now, I want to come back to you said, has Scopely not learned their lesson? Maybe they have learned their lesson. Maybe it was super profitable, and despite the players not liking it, maybe it was good for them. Do you think that they're doing this again because it's so profitable, or it's just an arena team and it's just coincidence that it's back to back?
No, because here's the thing. The game needs to have free to play. The game needs to have light spenders that buy character offers, and content creators. Like, we need an audience. So like if they start messing with it to the point where like a event like a pocket dimension or event like a kiln tower or sword satellite is completely pay gated.
Oh, you said it right. You said it right. I got to call that out.
Okay. Where like free to play players or just pass buyers or just like very sporadic random spenders, if the game is moving in a direction where these, I call them flash events because that's what they are to me. They just appear randomly, right? If that's no longer going to be available to everybody, then the game is in the worst place it's ever been, ever, in my opinion. And if that to them is a good lesson, we learned that we can make money if we do that, I think the game is going to quickly be finished.
It's a short-term type thinking, right? If it's just making money and then like screwing people long-term.
Yeah, it would be like cooking the golden goose instead of harvesting the eggs. It would just be horrible. I hate the idea of that even being possible.
One good meal, but never a meal ever again after that.
Yep, exact.
And what do you think of these rewards for this month-long milestone? I was disappointed when I saw it. No new character shards. A lot of teal stuff. I mean, these orbs are pretty good, the gladiator orbs, and that gets us more points for the milestone. for his event, but I was a little disappointed with it. What did you think of these rewards for this Annihilator Initiative month-long milestone event?
So the baby account in me loves that there are materials in it, because I'm always starved on training materials.
Okay.
But like you said, those orbs being there as opposed to like 20 gore shards and 20 gladiator shards and 20 Thanos shards or something like that. I don't like that, because it creates a world where there's big winners and big losers. Like I like those orbs. I like how they're being put where the characters are used, right? They're being put in the arena. I get that. That's fine. That's fun. When you start putting into milestones, it starts to really distinguish the lucky from the unlucky. And I would rather the game be in a place where not everyone will have the same star level. The character's stats are definitely dependent on stars, especially with the new character stats. But I want to be in a world where everyone unlocks all the characters. Like it feels yucky to put everything behind RNG.
Yeah, you need high spenders, big accounts. You need medium-sized accounts, small accounts. You need everything in this game so that the spenders have something to beat up, have somebody to beat up. And if they don't have then why are they spending?
That's it.
All right, let's move on to the month-long milestone event, Cosmic Threat Openings, Illumination Orbs. Seems pretty easy. It's another campaign spending event, and if you want to really do good in this, more core spending as well. Pretty decent rewards. So we'll get some purple gear, we'll get some purple ISO 8 stuff, some crimson gear, and these orbs, these illumination orbs actually seem pretty good. What are your thoughts on the milestones and your thoughts on the orbs and the contents of these orbs for the event?
So let me talk to it from the J2D account, the big spender.
That's the big spender account. Okay.
Yeah. The offers to do good in this event don't make sense compared to just buying the treats in the store. So that the amount of ions that you're getting and the treats that you're getting in the milestones itself, if you are the type of player who already has Hank Pym, Shuri, and all these characters very high, it doesn't make sense to buy the offers for this event. They're overpriced compared to what the treats are priced at. With that said, there was the glittering orb for Black Knight's golden costume plus 15,000 points plus like 6 million gold. And I think it was 50,000 of those treats. I think that's a really cool addition. I like the idea of them, and it was only $15. So I like the idea.
Okay.
It's right there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I like the idea of them trying to do skins this way, as opposed to being like, we're going to do a month-long leaderboard on spending gold. Hope you guys can spend 400 million gold a day to compete. If you don't get rank 1 through 10 every single day of the month, you just don't get, like, it's the way they did it before was ridiculous. I hate that it's golden.
This is $15. This is still cheaper than a gold milestones they had for Apocalypse, and I think Kang have one as well.
Yes, exactly. So I like the idea that they're trying to experiment with, like, because this would be like the regular place for like a League of Legends skin, right? So I like the idea that they're trying to see if they can monetize off skins. I'm a very hopelessly optimistic person, where it's like, oh, maybe if they can find a way to monetize off skins in an okay way, they'll monetize less off character offers. We won't have those gates we were just talking about. I know that's just never gonna happen. They'll just double up and try and monetize.
People don't buy skins. People don't buy skins in this game.
But But here's the thing, because like the Wolverine skin was like $100 to get the last one at the time, right? The gold skins we were talking about, they bid thousands of dollars to get it. Yeah. If skins were like $15, and say it was let's pick one that's random. Let's go with like Absolute Carnage is already in the game. Thor. If there was a fat Thor skin offer, and it was $10, I got to imagine at least 1,000 people pick it up.
Well, I think some of the problem was, if Thor is out of the meta, and a lot of the skins they released, I know some of the initial release characters were Elektra, who was in the Shadowlands, but Shadowlands was falling out at the time. Captain Marvel, who was so out of the meta. I think a lot of the problem with all these characters, nobody wanted to use them. But if they did that for characters that I was using all the time that were actually in the meta, I think that would change. And I might be enticed to buy a character skin for someone that I'm using, but like Fat Thor, that's a cool costume, but I'm not using that character, for example. Right. So it would need to be someone in the meta, for me at least. I'm not sure if that's the way for all the players, but
so let me give a different example then. Lady Deathstrike. You give her a costume that makes her look like Lady Deathstrike from
there
X2.
You go. That's forward thinking.
Right?
That's forward thinking. That's good. Make
So
her look
if
like
it-
a Sentinel. Fit on the team. Same thing with Scientist Supreme. That's the way to go with costumes.
Exactly. So I mean, if they could find a way to monetize skins better, which is cosmetic, which doesn't change the game at all, as opposed to pay gating, let's say milestones and events, or pay gating character shards,
I get what you're saying now. I would like that, but for me, it would need to be a meta character. But yeah, Scientist Supreme and Lady Deathstrike, I was seriously thinking about buying those because those are characters that I know I'm going to be using all the time for a while. So yeah, that's a good point. All right. Moving on to some data mines, some events coming up next week. You see the first one, and these data mines is, of course, courtesy of Brother Quick Draw. You see the event that is coming next week. It's called Old Enemies. And if we go to the schedule on that, that is going to be starting on August 27th. It's not on Monday. It's going to be starting on the Tuesday, according to this blog post here. But Old Enemies, your dimensional anomalies from shattered dimensions. That's where you need to collect for this. Also, you're gonna get some battle and war with annihilators. I'm sure those are like whale stones. So, 5-star, 6-star annihilators. Most people aren't gonna get those. But it's gonna be dimensional anomalies from shattered dimension, which require 3 characters for Illuminati, 3 characters for annihilators, which could be a problem because we haven't really had a release event for Gladiator. The web event's gonna be based on spending incursion energy. Now this is just data mines, this could change overall, but based on what we see here, what do you think of these requirements using annihilators and Illuminati in this shattered dimension for this event?
It's pretty par for the course for them, right? For these type of events. So it is what it is. I don't see the word. Did they say you need 3 annihilators? I'm super curious if they were expecting.
I think in either a previous data mine or I think it was a previous data mine it said 3. So I don't think it's official that it's 3, but I think in a previous data mine it did say 3.
Yeah, I'm just super curious what's going on without Gladiator's event or event. How we're expected to get annihilators through a pocket dimension with just Ultimates and Surfer. Like it seems crazy to me.
If you need 3, and you don't have Gladiator unlocked, you're screwed.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm super curious about what this is going to mean. It looks like this events we all spend incursion energy and battling blitz. That seems to be their new thing, where people who don't want to blitz can just spend on incursion stuff, which is cool. Lazy Krakens are going to lazy Krakens. They don't got to blitz. The rest of us will blitz for it.
I like when they do web events like this, where you could do one, you could either grind for it or you could spend some hardcore to get it over with. I like that they give that option there. I think the web events have been very good recently.
Me too. Yeah, and those are the ones that tend to be 100% completable, right?
Yeah, on like day 3, not all the way to day 7 or something like that. So I like those.
Yeah, exactly. The rest is just kind of normal, but we just got to see what's going to happen with the Shattered Dimension.
Yeah, the Shattered Dimension is concerning, especially with the release from the non-release event from Gladiator so far. And we got one more thing, Cosmic Dominance. This looks like this, at least according to this, looks like it's going to be on the 26th, so Monday instead of the Tuesday. But with this, you're going to need to battle through war, earn allies, supply 4 fragments. These are usually pretty simple. Any thoughts on this Alliance event?
No, I just hope it's not as egregious as the last one. The last Alliance event, the whale stones were super pricey to the point where even like some of the top alliances were just like, we're not going for this one. So they're definitely pushing the limit.
I like whale stones that you can grind for.
Yeah,
I guess they're not whale stones if you're grinding for them. I like grindstones. I don't like whale stones.
Yeah, when it comes to like, okay, guys, if we drop an extra 200 cores in the ISO campaign, we can get like 3 more milestones. Like that's okay. When it comes to like okay, guys, you got to spend $50 to get like the 3rd last milestone. I was like, no.
Yeah, spending in-game resources is cool. Spending real money, I was like, I don't know about that.
Exactly.
And DorkyDad, we got a brand new community manager with this teaser of a new environment that is coming to the game. So first thought, I like the graphics update. It doesn't look good now, but eventually what it's supposed to do is allow them to put more environments like this in game, make it a little more flashy. So eventually, once all the bugs get out, I think the graphics update is going to be a good thing combined with the over-the-air updates. But when I saw this screenshot, immediately I thought of Mephisto, but we already have Mephisto in the game, not related to Battle World. What was your thinking when you first saw this screenshot from the new environment? I mean, we have a circle here.
Right. So if you read the comic book arc, King in Black, you know exactly what this mark is. I guess it's Absolute Carnage before King in Black, but you know exactly what this mark is. And this mark is the symbol of an iconic character that everyone has been clamoring for forever, related to Gore, and hopefully doesn't suck as bad as Gore does. This is the mark of no. This is the mark of no.
It is, and if you look at that mark on the ground, we have that exact same mark on Ultimate Carnage on his forehead. I believe in the comics, this is what Null puts on his symbiotes, correct?
Yes, this is like the symbol that they are corrupted by Null, that they are under his influence. All right, real quick, go into the costume and check out what the display is.
Oh, resurrected by a cult that worships Null. So Null sort of is in the game already. He's mentioned in the game. Like Dr. Doom was in the game before. He was a Dark Dimension reward as like the host of one of the raids. Null, the symbiote god, undead version of Cletus Cassidy, leaves a bloody trail through New York City as he hunts down anyone who's ever bonded with the symbiote. All right, so, and it looks like it's related to Null. Let me know your thoughts on this screenshot, ladies and gentlemen. All right, and that seems to be it for the news this week. Any other final thoughts? Lots coming up. Shattered Dimension. We got Odin coming up very, very soon. The Annihilators, the full Annihilator team is arriving. What has you most excited?
Oh, okay. So there's no legendary character coming next patch, right? Which means we could have Illuminati farmable before the next legendary character.
That makes sense because the next patch is September-ish. October is the one after that, and that's around the Halloween monster-ish team, and could be a legendary Night Stalkers.
Yeah, so I'm still holding out hope that the backlash about Captain Britain is going to be strong enough that they run an event, second event, to get him for other players. I think more people will have their Illuminati built up by then with star levels and everything, and I'm hoping they're not, because I think next Legend events would be Stargated anyway, so it's not like having Captain Britain at 3 stars is going to make you compete with Krakens.
That'll be similar to Old Man Logan, I'm suspecting.
Yeah, I mean, they already took the backlash for doing it the first time. Why would they pedal back on it, right? So I'm hopeful that because there's no legendary character announced for the next patch, that we could get Captain Britain before. Because the difference between people having Captain Britain and not having Captain Britain in Crucible is it's not okay. It's not fair, right? But yeah, I'm pretty hopeful about the game.
So let me know your final thoughts, Valley Club, on everything that has happened and is coming up in Marvel Strike Force. And if you got some value from this video, leave it a like. It is free for you to do. Helps the channel a lot. And if you want to check out what are the best characters to put your dark promos, dark diamonds on, check out the video up there, and I'll see you guys next time. Are you ready for a fist bump, brother Dorky?
Let's do it, my guy.
All right, Hog fist bump. ValleyFlyin, DorkyDad out. Have a great rest of your day, guys.